So a subscriber asked me to tell the craziest story that I had ever dealt with in the automotive field, and I thought to myself, okay, why not? I was working for another Ford dealership down south. I work up north, Illinois. I was working for another Ford dealership down south. A lady came in and she wanted me to look at her vehicle. Well, she had a lot of stuff going on. I noticed it was like 12,000 miles since her last oil change. Lady's a traveling nurse. She's away from the house for weeks on end. She comes into the Ford dealership when she's back home, and she says, my oil light keeps coming on. The engine's making a bunch of noise and stuff like that. So I said, okay, look at your vehicle. I get it in the shop. I'm looking, pull the dipstick. It's just nasty black like tar. It's one of the reasons why I don't recommend these extended OCIs. None of us fit a schedule with a 10,000 mile OCI or even a 7,500 mile OCI. Most of our schedules are 5,000 and below, and we try to justify not doing the maintenance and making excuses because, oh, my engine still runs good, this and that. And it's often a talk I have with customers, and by the time I'm done talking to them about a severe schedule, and then when I actually point out what a severe schedule is, they agree. And I did the same thing with this lady. And I said, look, I'm going to have to go through it. I'm going to have to flush this engine out. This is terrible, what I'm seeing inside here. I don't see any metal or anything like that right now. Well, as I get to looking into it more and more, I realize as I'm draining the sludge out of it, here comes the metal in the oil. And I knew it was coming from somewhere. And the engine sound, the tapping sound, is something I'm familiar with the 1.5 liter EcoBoost. I pull a high pressure pump on it, and I look down underneath the high pressure pump, and sure enough, the bucket that sits on top of the actual that sits down inside the cylinder, it's like a metal valve cover area, and it rides up and down inside it, but it's pushed off of a cam lobe that's specifically designed to drive the high pressure pump on the 1.5 liter EcoBoost. It had worn through the bucket, and it was pushing into the bottom of the high pressure pump. And I said, look, you're going to need multiple things. This motor's going to need to be flushed. It's going to be you're on a prayer if you're going to try to save this vehicle, because once that metal particles and stuff get down inside that oil, especially when I flush everything out, you're going to have debris and bearing surfaces. You're going to lose oil pressure. You're probably going to need a new motor, and this motor is like a $6,000-$7,000 motor, and then you're talking close to 19 to 22 hours to replace everything. And what saves you is this being a front wheel drive, so it'll be a little bit less. It's probably more like 19 and a half, 20 hours. But you're going to end up needing a motor in this thing. But I can try to save as much of it now if that's what you want me to do. I'll put a new high pressure pump in it, new bucket. The cam's got some scoring and stuff in it, so all that stuff is going to have to be replaced. I mean, you really need to put a long block in this thing, because I'm going to have to go through the cylinder head. It's all tore up. But this lady gets emotional and stuff like that, and she's trying to figure out exactly what she wants to do. And then she starts inching closer to me and closer to me. She puts her hand on my shoulder and stuff, and then she lays her head over on my shoulder. I think she's just emotional or whatever, so I'm trying to give her some support or whatever. I'm just standing there. She's a smoking hot nurse. And we all know, mechanics, whatever. At the time, I was single, so I was at the same, I'm like, okay, I don't feel bad about this. I'm just here to console you, basically. It'll be okay, but you're a traveling nurse making big bucks. This is the type of stuff that happens when you neglect your vehicle. Well, then the soft talk comes and everything else, and she's trying to love up to me and stuff and trying to get me to do this off the clock and everything. And I notice when I'm looking at the paperwork, there's a guy's name on the ticket. I said, he's got the same name as her. Her name is on the RO, but then who owns the warranty on that is under a guy's name with the same name. This woman's married. I don't see a ring on her finger or anything. I bet you this woman's married. It's a common tactic women like to use sometimes, right? And she's trying to get something out of me for free, and then she says, maybe we can exchange numbers and talk later and stuff like that. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, fine, let's do it. The more I get to thinking about the whole entire situation, the more I'm almost drawing up what's going to happen. She's going to try to bribe me into doing something for services outside of, the professional aspect of the business. So I exchanged numbers with her and stuff like that, and later on she calls me and she's like, we could be friends, and let's go out and talk over dinner about the repairs and stuff. Yeah, so it was clear as day what was going on. And what I did was I took the number that was on the warranty paperwork, because I really feel bad about what she was doing, and especially if she was married. I looked this guy up on Facebook, and I see all the pictures and stuff of them together with their kids and stuff like that, and it really made me feel bad at that point. So I said, you know what? I'm going to fix this up real quick. I'm going to be the home wrecker. I'm going to let this guy know what he's dealing with is while his wife's away and he's at home with the kids. So I contact the guy and I talk to him. I let him know everything that's been going on, and he says, you know what? After crying on the phone and being mad on the phone and me and him going and sitting down and stuff like that, he says, why don't you go ahead and set up the dinner date and stuff like that? I want to catch all this on camera. So we set up a dinner date. Meet at a local barbecue joint and stuff. She's dressed real nice. About 20 minutes into dinner and stuff like that, this guy shows up. And it was irate. Right there in the restaurant, this guy starts grabbing chairs, moving it out of the way and stuff, acting like he's going to go nuts. She's, let's go outside. So they go outside. And all of a sudden he calms down. It was just all for show. He wasn't really going to do anything. He was trying to scare her. Then they get outside and stuff like that. And she's like, oh my God, did you called him? You told him what was going on? No, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do anything. I don't know how. Maybe he's got a tracker on your car. I'm not sure what's going on. And then outside, he's like, how long you been doing this kind of stuff to me? What do you do while you're on the road? You're going away from the family for weeks on end before you come home. What's going on? Like, why are you doing this stuff and everything? And then I said, you know what? It's my job here is done. And I looked at her and said, you really shouldn't be doing this stuff to people. I thought you were some single woman that was coming on to me and stuff like that, but little did I know you had a family until I seen the guy on the warranty, the actual name on the warranty. I contacted the guy on Facebook and I let him know everything that was going on. Don't do stuff like this to people. And I left. I got in my truck and I left. I find out a couple weeks later that she had eventually ended up confessing to multiple other people that she had done stuff like this with and physically slept with while she's married to this man and has kids with this man, and he's loyal and faithful to her. They're divorced today, but unfortunately, this is the type of stuff that happens when you cheat. That's my craziest automotive story. Y'all be blessed.